let's talk hair porosity. Porosity. I don't know why I felt like I just had to sing that. Honestly, this is something that was really new to me up until a few years ago, because growing up, this isn't something that was ever talked about. When I went to the salon, a stylist never mentioned it to me. I never read about it. And it wasn't until I got a curly girl cut a few years ago that I first learned about hair porosity. And then it was like, ding, a light bulb went off in my head. I had spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on products for my hair, just trying to find the right one without understanding the why behind the reason that they weren't working for me. So let's get into it. And you might want to take notes. Basically, hair porosity refers to how well the cuticle lets moisture in and out of your hair. And honestly, it could be linked to genetics or just damage from heat and chemicals. So if you were to think of the anatomy of your hair, you have 3 layers. You have the innermost layer, which is the medulla, then you have the middle layer, which is the cortex, and finally you have that outermost layer, which is the cuticle. The cuticle is the nourishing protective layer, and this is where hair porosity comes into play, and there are 3 types. The first type is low porosity hair, and it has tightly closed flat cuticles, much like this picture right here. With this hair porosity, moisture and products just tend to sit right on top of the hair, and they are harder to absorb. If your hair takes a long time to get wet and a long time to dry, and you get a lot of buildup, you probably have low porosity hair. The second type is medium porosity, and medium porosity hair has slightly open cuticles, much like this picture, and so products are easily absorbed and retained. The third type is high porosity. High porosity hair has wide open cuticles like this. With this hair porosity, moisture easily passes in and out of the hair. You may find that your hair has a harder time holding on to moisture, that it dries very quickly, and it's more prone to frizziness and breakage. So now that I've told you all of that, you might be wondering, okay, so what's my hair type? Well, like most things today, there's a test for that. All you gotta do is grab a glass, fill it with room temperature water, and then take a strand of hair. Make sure that it is clean hair. It shouldn't be manipulated with any products, chemical treatments, or heat. Just clean, air-dried hair. Take a strand and go ahead and drop it in the water. And then you're just gonna leave that strand in there for about 15 minutes. Now, when you come back, if the strand is floating, it means you have low porosity hair. If the strand has sunk to the bottom of the glass, it means you have high porosity hair. If it's in the middle, it means you have medium porosity hair. This is my hair porosity test, and hopefully you can see it, but it is floating at the tippy top, which means I have low porosity hair. My hair is weird. It's kind of like a hybrid of porosity, if you will. And I want you to know that it is totally possible, especially for my curly folks out there, to have sections of high, low, and even medium porosity hair. I've noticed this when I'm styling my hair, especially my curly hair, that some sections absorb and retain products a lot better. Those curls are moisturized and defined. And then there are some sections that is like, what is going on here? It's frizzy, it's dry, and it seems impossible for product to penetrate the hair. So if that sounds like you, then it is possible that you can have a mixture of high, low, and medium hair porosity. And you can actually test this with strands of hair from those sections. So what can you do if you find yourself in the low or high hair porosity column? If you have medium porosity, go ahead and rejoice, because it's basically like you won the hair lottery. If you have low porosity hair, this is what I find helps me. I like to use warm water when I'm washing my hair so that it loosens the cuticles. Because remember, with low porosity, those cuticles are tight and flat. I also deep condition. And I'll use a heating cap over a shower cap to really allow those products to penetrate the cuticle. Now with high porosity hair, again, deep conditioning is just your best friend, okay? Along with leave-in conditioners, it's just gonna be mwah for your hair. Also, rinsing with cold water helps to close the cuticle and lock that moisture in. Now, no matter what hair porosity category you fall into, one thing is super important: maintaining hair health. Harsh, direct heat, especially when it comes to high porosity hair, is extremely damaging to the hair cuticle. And this is where my RevAir has been a hair-saving game changer for me, because it would take me over an hour to blow dry my hair. And I was using the highest heat setting, crank that thing all the way up. I was pulling out my hair, and then to make matters worse, I was using a flat iron, also on the highest setting. And even though I was using heat protectant, my hair was still a dry, frizzy, fried mess, and it was not cute. And then reverting back to my curly hair was such a pain, because I had sections that were completely straight from all the heat damage, and then the sections that did curl were frizzy and undefined, so it was just all bad. Now I'm able to dry my hair in less than 20 minutes. I'm not pulling at my hair, there's no breakage, and along with the 2 heat settings on the device, there's also a cool shot setting. And I love that setting because it seals all the moisture in after you're done drying and leaves your hair shiny. So you get the best of both worlds. And one last thing that I love about my RevAir, well, who am I kidding? There's like thousands and thousands of things, but I'll finish with this. I love that it seals the hair cuticle in its natural direction. Now, for some of you watching this video, you might be thinking, what the heck is a RevAir? I never heard of that before. What is this weird looking thing in the back that looks like I could vacuum out my car with it? I know, baby. Let mama tell you. Simply put, RevAir is a faster, healthier, easier way to dry, stretch, and smooth your hair using reverse air technology to do that 3 times faster than traditional methods. Hopefully this little video on hair porosity helped you. If it did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know what your hair porosity is and any tips, tricks, and methods that you use. And if you want to learn more about RevAir, go ahead and visit myrevair.com.